Building your own invoice template will not only save you money, it will also allow you to customize it exactly how you need it. Plus, it will only take less than an hour to make it. So let's get to it. Hey guys, for those who are new here, my name's Annalisa and I am an American living in the UK. I came to the UK working freelance and now I share tips and tricks and insights of how you can come to the UK as well and succeed as a freelancer. Okay, today we are talking about how to build an invoice template that can be automatically generated with new information instead of you manually going in and changing it every single time, because that is so annoying. This also means that you can stop relying on third-party apps and templates. You don't have to keep paying for QuickBooks if you don't want to, which, side note, QuickBooks is great. Obviously, if you are using other features of it, go for it. But if you're just using it for the invoices, you don't have to anymore. Cut that cost, save your money, and build your own. Let's get to it. So I'm just gonna open Numbers. That's what I'm gonna use because I just like using it. There's not a lot of tutorials on it. I'm using the invoice template. I'm gonna redo a lot of it, but that's what we're gonna use. We're just gonna start out and we're gonna create a new sheet. And we're gonna put that first. And we're gonna rename it Update Here, or whatever you want to write. And just with this first table, we only need 2 columns, so we can delete those. And we're gonna rename it Invoice Update. That's what we want to call it. Okay. And then we're gonna make this one a bit bigger. And then with the table selected, we're gonna go over here to Table. And we're gonna add another header row because we just are. And we're also going to merge these. We're gonna merge the cells. I'm gonna change the color because I like changing the color. Okay. This is gonna be where we put the instructions. It's hard to type and talk at the same time. This is the item, and then this is the rate. And we're gonna have 5 of those. I'm gonna do 5. So we're gonna make sure that these are currency, and it's in pounds right now, but I'm changing it to US dollars. Boom, boom, boom. We're gonna actually just drag that down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, done. Okay, I'm gonna fill this with the dark blue, and I'm gonna change the color of these to yellow because those are going to be filled in information, and so are these. You don't have to do the same colors as me, I'm just doing that. Okay, invoice number. I'm gonna change the font color. The due date for the invoice to be paid, and the client. This is important. Make sure that this cell for the invoice number, it has to be text, because if it's on automatic and I want my invoice number to be like the very first invoice, so what is that, 5 zeros and a 1, it will just turn it into a 1, which we don't want. So we're gonna change it to text, and then when I do it, boom, it stays. So that's what we want. The due date, I'm just gonna put today plus 7. So I want to get paid in a week from sending the invoice. If you have like 20 days, 30 days, whatever you want, you can change that. I'm just doing 7 for these purposes, but I don't like this because also confusion between American dates and British dates is just, or European, it's just, no. And I just like how it looks better when it has this. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm also gonna left justify it because I like that. Okay, and the client, we're not filling that in quite yet, but we are going to change the data format to a pop-up menu, and that will get updated later. Okay, we're going to add another table. Shocking, I know. This one is also going to only have 2 columns. And we're gonna make the first one a bit longer and the second one a lot longer. But it also only needs 2 rows. That is probably way too big, but it's fine. We're gonna make those yellow. There we go. This is going to be optional. And it's gonna be the project title. Notice it's not all caps. That is important, okay? So let me just give you an example here. Let's say we are invoicing for an editing job. Let's do some developmental edits, copy editing, proofreading, publication, design, and ebook. Okay, and then for the rates for these, we're just gonna throw out some stuff. This is gonna be $3,000. This is gonna be $1,568.02. 306 million. Wait, is that enough zeros? Oh, see, this is good that we're typing it in because the formatting did not carry down. So we're gonna have to do this again. There we go. These are not realistic fees, obviously, but that is what we have. Okay, and then we're just gonna call this my new book. I'm taking my new book through editing phases and publication. That's all in there. Here is the side note for you. If you don't have regular clients, then I would not do this way. I'd probably make a separate table and be like client info, name, address, line 1, address line 2, email, phone, boom. I'd get rid of these. I would get rid of these. I'd make these yellow because they're gonna get filled in. Oh my gosh, what happened here? Okay, that's what I would do. And then when we get to the data sheet, then I would pull the information just from here, and you'd have to manually change that every time you make your invoice, but I mean, it's fine. However, I am going to do this a little bit more fancy and make it a little less manual. So I'm going to show you guys how to make another table. Okay, so this one, you're gonna need a bit more space. We're gonna put that probably like 225. Yeah, okay. We're gonna make all of these 225 width. We only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Delete those. Okay, so this is easy. It's just numbers 1 through 5. This is going to be what I just showed you, and actually I'm going to change the color on this because just colors are just fun. Okay, everything's fine. All right, we're going to do the client name, address line 1, address line 2, email, and phone. And I'm gonna make those all bold and white font because I just want it to look pretty. Yeah. And this is going to be the client. Don't forget to update pop up menu. So this is where we're gonna get these from. Let's make up some people. We are gonna use, who is this person? Trends Pruka. We're gonna put this in. Okay, Trends Pruka. 321 New Street. All right. Street. What's there? Where do they live? Town, county, postcode. All right. Town, county, postcode. Awesome. Let's make somebody else up. Jane Doe. She lives on 666 Danger Zone. Another client at email.com. I could technically copy these all over, but I want to show you guys how it looks different later on. I will fill this one in later. Okay, so this, going back to the pop-up menu, you're gonna go over to cell because that's where you can edit it. First of all, we're gonna start with blank. We're going to add Trends Pruka. And we're also going to add Jane Doe. Remove those. Beautiful. Okay, so now those are our two options. It doesn't do anything now, but we'll just turn it to trends for the moment. So this is the update sheet. This is everything you need right now. And now we're gonna make another sheet. So this new sheet, we're gonna call it data. I'm gonna put the little lock emoji because I think it's cute. We are not going to edit this sheet once we make it. There is one thing that we might edit, but I will tell you about that. Okay, so this is the data to pull for invoice. So the point of this sheet, we could just do two sheets. We could just do the update and then link everything straight into the invoice. However, my goal is to not have any formulas in this invoice page. Like, it's just gonna be copy paste from data. So because of that, we're adding the data sheet. So this is where all the formulas are gonna be. We're only gonna need 3 columns. We're gonna make this one a little bit bigger. And we're gonna make this one all blue, bold, and white font. We're also going to remove the header row because we don't need that. Okay, we're putting in, if you couldn't guess from here, we're leaving spaces for 5 items. You can change that however much you usually, like what the maximum you would potentially have in an invoice. I feel like most freelancers probably wouldn't have too many. Like honestly, if I was charging a client, I could potentially charge for all of these in just one like package fee. It is nice to kind of like spread it out, I guess, and see exactly what you're doing, but it just depends how you work things. This will automatically update for me. Oh yeah. Boom. Total due. That's important. Invoice number. Due date. And client. And then we're gonna add all of those things that I just had. Address line 1. Address line 2. Email. Phone, and then we're gonna have 2 mystery ones, which we'll get to those. Those take a bit of extra coding. So this is where we get into the coding like formula part. For this first one, we're gonna have equals if, and then we're gonna go to the update page. If this cell equals, and then if you just do 2 quotation marks next to each other, that means like blank. So we're telling this, if this cell is blank, then on the data sheet, let's move this, on the data sheet, we want this to stay blank because we don't need to pull anything over, and we don't want it to pull up like an error either. Okay, so if that's blank, then we're gonna do blank, and if it's not, then we're gonna have it pull exactly that. Beautiful. Before we close this, we're gonna make sure that the column is preserved. Yes. Check. And we can just drag it down for the next 5 items. Amazing. And watch this. If we take off the ebook, it disappears. So there we go. So for this cell, it's fairly similar, but it's slightly different. So if this rate box that matches, make sure it's still the same item. If this is greater than 0, then we are going to do the cell again. But if it is less than 0, then it will be blank. And again, we're going to make sure that the column is the same. Beautiful. Okay, check. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag that down. Awesome. And once again, if you change this to 0, then it disappears. If you change it to blank, it's also blank. So, boom, done. Okay, total due. This is easy. It's just sum of those 5. Boom. Invoice number, also super easy. We're just going to equal this. And if we keep the column, we can even drag it. And we're also going to left justify that because I just like it. Okay, this is some more coding. This is a little bit more complex, I suppose, than just if statements. So equals if, and then right away we're going to do h lookup. So what that means is horizontal lookup. Fun fact, if you go over here on the right in numbers and you look up h lookup in functions, it will tell you exactly what it is and how it works and give you examples, and it's just great. And then your first argument is going to be on the update page. Again, if you had made that extra little client table where you just fill it in manually every time, all of these would just pull from that. However, since we are doing this client table, we're gonna look up this name, and then the second argument is going to be this section of all of the clients that we've put in. So basically what it's doing is it's looking up that name in this section, but you also have to give it like a row, which is why like horizontal is row. And if you did VLOOKUP, it'd be a column because it's vertical. So for this, we need to look it up within column 1. So that is the third argument. And then we can close our h lookup. So if this is blank, then we want this cell to show up blank. But if it's not blank, then we want it to actually look up this person's name. So we're going to drag it down. So we want to make sure that that's preserved, both of them. That is fine. And then this one, we need to preserve the column, but not the row. And then we're just going to copy just the h lookup section, paste that at the end, and then close our if parentheses, and there you go. Here's something also important. If it won't change your font here, that means that you're actually gonna have to change it on the original sheet. So we're gonna have to change all of these to not be bold. So that's a good way to troubleshoot if you're having, like, you want your text to look nice. Obviously it doesn't really matter in this table, but whatever is in this table is going to pull onto your invoice, and you do want that to look nice. Because we've set up the h lookup and we've preserved all those rows and columns, we can just drag it down and it will pull in everything. It's amazing. And watch this, if we change this to Jane, look at that, everything has updated. Amazing. So Again, you could just do manually update your clients every time, especially if you don't have repeat clients usually, but if you do, this is really fun. This is probably the most interesting coding. It's not as involved as the HLOOKUP, but it is a bit interesting. So we're gonna do equals if, go back to the update page, obviously, because everything is here. If this cell, so the name of the title, not like the label, but the name, if that is not blank, then we are going to do this. So not the name, but actually the label. And I also want a colon after it. So I'm doing the ampersand to add it on. And then if you want to add text, you have to put quotation marks around text. And this one, it's ampersand and then the text of a colon. So that's if it's not blank, this is what you do. And then if it is blank, we just want it to stay blank. And this is really important. We don't want to just have this show up all the time. So watch this. We take that out. It doesn't show up at all. And the reason for that, you'll see in the invoice, but basically on here, we just don't want the project title and description to show up at all if we don't have it. So I feel like that makes sense. You don't want like a, project title and then blank, We're gonna do the same thing for the project description. I'm just gonna copy and paste it because, yeah, I know it's gonna have the wrong references, but it's fine. Okay, so we're gonna change this first reference, obviously, to be the description, and then change the second one to the label of project description. And then for the actual text, it's slightly different than these as well. So you're gonna do if this cell is not blank, then we'll pull that over. But if it is blank, we want it to stay blank. You feel? So, for example, if there is no text here, then it's not going to pull that in. And then if there's nothing here, it's not going to pull that in. So watch this. Nothing. Nothing. There. They're both there. Amazing. And this is here. We haven't put that coding in yet. We're just going to copy that and paste it and change the formula because that did drag down, so that's nice. But we're going to have to change the reference to be this. And now it shows up. And again, if we don't want to put a project description on our invoice, it won't show up at all. But if we do, there it is. And again, okay, this is just a side note. Customize this however you want. Like, this is not supposed to be like the end all of invoices. You know how your business works, you know how your freelancing works. Make it work for you. I've made invoices for my husband's contracting as well, and it looks totally different because he charges by the day, and so I have it automatically put in the dates. It makes sense to have the clients table because he regularly works with the same clients, and just, yeah, a lot of it is just structured differently. Even the look of the invoice is different, so just make it your own. But hopefully this video shows you some strategies in coding so that you can have the tools to build what you want. So anyways, and with that, I think we're ready to update the invoice. However, I did want to show you guys something. So let's say we have another client because we're working hard, we're getting lots of clients. So we're gonna add John Smith. So once you add that client, remember this was already in. I didn't add another column. So we'll go to cell, we'll add John Smith, and we'll change this to John Smith. And then in the data tab, look, it pulled John Smith. And we are on a roll. So we are gonna create another one. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way in Sydney, Australia. So we're gonna add P. Sherman to our pop-up list, and we're gonna select it, and what? Why is it John Smith? What happened? Well, let me show you. What happened is that this is only drawing from this section. It doesn't cover that. Unfortunately, you are going to have to manually change this every time. However, at least with numbers, it makes it really easy because it does these little color highlights and you can just drag it over. One solution to this is you just make like a super long list of clients and you just put them all on the table. And then you just remember that when you have to top it up, you just have to add more, which is totally fine. That completely works. You could also delete old clients if you're not using them again and just cycle it through. But that is one thing to keep in mind. So again, if you don't usually work with the same clients, I would probably just skip this and just manually input the clients every time because it'll just be way easier for you. Look, now it says P. Sherman. Yay! And because of that, we're gonna change this to Finding Nemo. Okay, the moment that we've all been waiting for, we're gonna actually make this invoice. Take this information and put it into this automatically. Okay, this does take a little bit of work. Change your company name, put in your logo, you know, make it cute, blah, blah, blah. Change your info. You can change your little message as well. Mainly gonna be focused on this, which is the actual invoice, and this detail section. First of all, let's just insert a table. So for this, I'm not doing it exactly the same, but I'll try and do it close. So we're gonna have the client. Okay, so attention, and then we're gonna do the name, address, 1, 2, email, phone, etc. We're just gonna want to delete those columns. If you go to text and then you go to layout, so notice how the font is, I think, technically the same. Yeah, that's like exactly the same size. However, the lines are not matching up because of this thing called text inset. So we're gonna change that to about 0. Try this. Ooh, I think that is looking good. That looks perfect. Look at that. I mean, obviously there's a space there, so look at that. It looks so good. Okay, so that is exactly what we want. Also, really quick, I am going to copy and paste this table. I'm going to delete everything. Delete selected rows. It won't let you delete a column because then it won't be a table, it'll just be one cell. So I'm just going to hide it. And I'm going to take away the table name because we don't need it. Okay, so it's just this. What I'm going to do with this, I'm going to make this the invoice number. So I'm just going to delete that and have it equal, guess what? The invoice number. Boom. We're going to be drawing everything from the data tab. Back to this, we are going to delete the table name on that as well because we don't need it. Date, I'm assuming that is today's date. So this is the only coding I'm doing on here, but it's just equals today. That's very easy. I also, again, I'm going to change this. And also while we're at it, I'm going to make these right justified because that's just how I want it to be. And then project title, project description. Okay, we're doing the invoice number over there. And the terms I'm assuming is the due date. I'm just going to put the due date first. Due. And then we'll have project title and description. So this is going to be super easy. This client name equals this cell. And actually, if we keep the column, we can just drag that down. Look at that. Amazing. And then the due date, you guessed it, is going to be the due date. And then this is going to be this. Keep the column. Boom. Drag that down. Easy. Same with this one. Pick that. Keep the column. Drag that down. Oh, it matches up so good. Just something to keep in mind, if you have a really long description, like, okay, There we go. It's just long. We're gonna make it longer at the top. There we go. Have it line up. And we're also gonna make this go, because that is not all of it. This is where we're actually gonna have to pull it out so it doesn't move that down. We're going to drag this one down as well. I feel like that's probably plenty of space for project description, yeah. All right. Here we go. Delete. And then put this in where the other one was. That looks great. We are going to change everything about this. There is going to be no border. The fill is going to be... Okay, so that is all updatable. So for example, if we took off the ebook and we changed the invoice number to 056782 and we changed the due date to like +20 and we picked Jane and we took off the description, then it would look like this. So look at that, it's just amazing. The numbers changed, all of this information has changed. Amazing. Also, I didn't have to take off the ebook because we haven't put that in yet. So I'm just gonna clear those out and I'm going to make it so there's only one footer row. And also we only have 5 items, so we can get rid of this row. And I am going to merge these because I don't want to change the size. But if I didn't care and I was going to be ripping up this invoice to make it the way that I wanted it to, which I think that you should do, then I would just delete these columns and redo this table. But I'm not going to do that, so don't worry about that. We will fix that. Okay, we're almost there, you guys. Also, if you notice this, if you're using the same template, these are text, so when I hit equals, it doesn't pull up the function bar. And to change that, we're going to change this to automatic. Beautiful. So when we hit equals, it shows up. And we go to that, preserve the column, and then... Okay, for some reason it won't let me drag. Oh, it's probably because the cells are merged. We can just copy and then paste and it will still work. So that's great. We don't want that formula that's already in there. We want this with the column preserved. Save that. This one will let me drag. Amazing. And this one is just taking the sum of these two. So we're gonna have to fix that. And we're not gonna sum it in here. You could, again, you could put formulas in here if you wanted to, but we've already got it here. So we're gonna do that. You can type, I would type total here, personally. And again, if we take that off and we put that as 0, it won't show up. Again, you can change how this looks. I don't really love that it's a table, but that's up to you. You can do it as you will. Again, the invoice, you should not be editing anything on here. Literally only this and potentially the references in here. Don't forget to update pop-up menu and selection area for HLOOKUP in data sheet. That reminds me, also instructions. I like having instructions in here just so if you don't use this for a while and then you come back to it, you can remember how to use it. Fill in the information of the yellow cells. Check that invoice number, due date, and client are all correct. Add, make sure client table is updated as needed. Open invoice sheet, look over once more, and print. So those are your instructions. Easy, easy. Like it said, you should not be editing this. So it's print only. Ooh, lock. And just to show what printing looks like, if we go to File, Print, oh no, it doesn't all fit on one page. Well, luckily there's this button called Fit, and look at that. It's still like not centered, so I'm gonna add to the top margin until it looks pretty good. I like that. Again, format it how you want. This is a great way to see how it's gonna look on one page, so make sure you look at this as you're doing it so that you can adjust the sizing as needed. Also, I don't like this number 2, so I'm gonna change that to number 1. There you go. You can print this as a regular print. You can go down here and save as PDF. And that's great if you're gonna email it. And the nice thing about the print settings is it should be that next time you go into print, it saves them. Yay! And just to show you, this is what the PDF looks like. It may not look the way that you really want it to look right now, but you can customize it how you want. And now you know how to adjust it to automatically fill in instead of manually having to change all of this every single time. So you're welcome. Hope you enjoy it. And I just noticed that this is covered up, so I did figure out how to solve the .com being covered up, and it's super easy. I've just gone in here and I've selected this text. If you right click on it, then you can bring it to front, and there you go, all fixed. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more freelance tips and tricks for success. And comment down below if there's anything that you want to ask me that I can address in upcoming videos. See you soon!